listeners and viewers. Welcome to another episode on Rising Above Shadows of Abuse, RASA. Where do you see gaps in current domestic abuse services, especially post-crisis?
Yeah, so I think that's the key there as well. Many services that I've encountered focus on safety and leaving, which is of course important and paramount, but the long-term support and rebuilding services are few and far between. So survivors may leave the system and find themselves without tools to sustain the next part of their journey, which is where companies like myself, Be More Dandelion, come in, because it really is about, like we talked about before, it's an ongoing journey. Just because you're out of the system does not mean that the work is over, or that you miraculously somehow can now go on and live a quote unquote normal life. So yeah, I think the biggest gap that I've seen is what happens after the aftercare finishes. Where's the support there?
I totally agree with you. Just like you said, your company, Be More Dandelion, helps support women, especially when it comes to their body and them regaining their identity through movement. We also don't have enough support services, like maybe childcare. If, for example, the moms need to go to court, there is a deficiency there. And also therapeutic services, maybe coaching or counseling services, are not as numerous as you would expect when it comes to the specialized area for people who are survivors of domestic abuse. We also think about finances, because when you are gone through a domestic abuse situation and you have to separate from your partner or the perpetrator, it can be very difficult for single moms because it's a new terrain for them. So bringing up the children, maybe 1, 2, 3, or 4 or more, I don't know, can be very tasking, and they need finances because possibly the perpetrator was the main provider. So now you're left at the mercy of being the provider for the children. You're going to be acting as mom and dad. So that can be very difficult. So how do people or survivors navigate that? There are not enough, services to help such women. You were quite fortunate that you had something to fall back on. Just like we were talking earlier on. Your ex-partner is really not providing. You are actually doing the provision for yourself and your son. So for somebody who has nothing to fall back on, what happens? We know that the benefit system is not so great nowadays because there are too many people in the country and the services is, I think, overstretched. So sometimes it wouldn't get to the relevant people that actually need it. So that's one thing that I hope the government can look into. And also in terms of housing, take for example, if the perpetrator was the owner of the property that the family was living in, what happens to the woman if she has to live with the children for safety reasons? People will say, there are domestic abuse shelters or refuge, but are they sufficient? So these are some of the key areas of after services that actually might be detrimental if not provided for survivors and their children, for those who have children. So like we've been talking about this, I want government, if they're listening, to do something in relation to that. Maybe craft special offices who will take charge of things like this for people fleeing domestic abuse situations. Thank you so much for your previous answer.